Welcome. Congratulations on your mission to the University of Virginia, and thank you so much for joining us today's virtual admitted student celebration. This event is brought to you in partnership with the Office of Admission and the Global Affairs Office. So before we start, a few housekeeping items to begin with. This session will be recorded and will be sent to all registrants within the next few days. If you have any questions throughout today's discussion, just please type them in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. Our behind-the-scenes staff are answering those questions as they come throughout the program. If you have specific admission questions, please visit the Office of Admission website. A link will be dropped in the chat. So over the course of the next the next hour, you will hear us refer to the word club in two different ways. There's a more traditional way as in student activity clubs, but you will also hear about our UVA clubs, which are a global network of alumni, family, and friends in Virginia across the world and across the US. Our regional club offer many programs throughout the year that allow you to connect with UVA from wherever you live. We'll drop a link in the chat for more information. So today's program will feature a discussion with our three panelists about their experiences at UVA. This discussion will be then followed by a Q&A session with our panelists answering some of the questions that you submitted when you registered. I also like to give a big thank you to our silent moderator from the Office of Admission and the International Studies Office, who are busy behind the scene answering questions as they come in through the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. So if you have any questions, please just type them in the Q&A function. So my name is David Yang. I'm originally from Beijing, China, a graduate of UVA, as well as a current graduate student at UVA McIntyre School of Commerce. Now I'd like to welcome our Vice Provost for Global Affairs, Ambassador Steve Mole. Ambassador Mole is the primary lead on global relations at the university and oversees international activities. Steve is responsible for overseeing and developing a wide array of services, programs, experiences, and strategic partnerships that promote global imagination within the university community. Steve?
Thank you, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of your newly admitted students. Let me extend you warm congratulations and a big Wahoo welcome to the UVA family. We are so looking forward to your joining us later this summer at one of America's best universities. And I know you will all love it here. You will be challenged and rewarded in the classroom. You'll have a rich array of activities, clubs, and sports to choose from. And I know you will enjoy living in Charlottesville, one of the most beautiful spots in America.
Thank you, Steve. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the ways that UVA supports students during their time on ground in terms of academic, wellness, social opportunity, and perhaps career preparation?
Absolutely, David. The first and most important office for you to be aware of is the International Student and Scholars Program Office, which is an office that will support you, whether it's your visa, whether it's arranging for appropriate documentation for working here or in internships. And you will start working with them to start your visa process. You can go on the chat to the guide for their newly admitted students for instructions about how to start your visa process, getting an I-20 form and everything. Before you get here in June or so, every international student will be assigned a global peer-to-peer mentor from your home country or region, and they will be in touch with you and will work with you to help answer any questions that you have about being an international student here at UVA. And when you get here, they will also be very helpful to help you get used to life in America. And when you make your plans to get here, don't forget that the Student Council runs a bus service, an Airbus, to bring people from Dulles Airport, the closest international airport to Charlottesville. If you go on the chat, you can find a website for how to make arrangements for making those arrangements. And then when you arrive here, you'll be greeted by global greeters who give a special warm welcome to all of our international students. And then throughout the year, there are many programs and activities that you can participate in. Your first week here, we'll have a very intense and rich program of orientation. We will give during that a briefing on your immigration status and how to maintain it. And then we, throughout the year, have presentations and webinars in the International Students and Scholars Programs Office on timely topics of special interest, such as how to arrange employment, internships, and taxes. We also have a weekly gathering of international students, international student support circles, who gathers together with international students to address any particular needs that you have. We also have an international center, the Lorna Sundberg International House, which provides social and cultural programming with opportunities for new students and continuing students to engage with other international students and the entire UVA community. For example, early in the fall, there'll be a program, a workshop on US social customs. They have catered picnics in the center's backyard. And also during American holidays, such as Thanksgiving, we have a special program which we link international students to have Thanksgiving dinner in November in the homes of our UVA community. So there are ample opportunities to engage. We can't wait to get you here and look forward to working and welcoming you.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. And as an international student myself, I can say definitely have utilized many of the support that you mentioned, and they have really crucial for supporting me throughout my years at UVA. So beside the student, what about for their families? I'm sure a lot of parents, like mine, when I first arrived at UVA, get a little bit nervous about their student being so far away from home.
Well, I can relate. I remember one of the hardest days in my life as a father was sending my son off to school in the United States while I was serving overseas. So I can relate to what all of the parents and other family members are feeling. I want to assure you that we'll take very good care of your student and are available to you for any concern you have about them 24/7, around the clock, all day, all night, all weekends. So please be in touch with me or with ISSP, the International Student and Studies Program, to raise any concern that you have. I assure you that we take our security here on grounds very seriously, and I know your students will find our environment to be very, very safe here. We also have a new and a superb student health and wellness center in a brand new facility close to our hospital. In the event that your students ever require medical care, they will have it available to them and they will be taken care of. So all in all, I know you're nervous. I was there myself, but your student will be well taken care of here.
Great, Steve, thank you so much. And we're gonna have you hang around for a little bit, but I'd like to introduce our panelists now. So without further ado, I'd like to invite our guests to join us. Morning, Mika. Morning, Yue. So I'm gonna start with you guys introducing yourself. Mika, perhaps can we start with you?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Mica Villanova. I'm originally from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I graduated UVA in 2022. I majored in media studies with a minor in leadership. Right now, I am located in Washington, D.C., working for a PR agency as an account executive. And I'm thrilled to be here. Welcome, everyone.
Great, thank you so much. Yue, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Yihui. I'm a second year at UVA and I'm originally from Singapore. I'm currently majoring in Econ and Stat at the College of Arts and Sciences.
Lovely. Thank you, Yue. So I know when I first decided to come to UVA, I was concerned about what the transition will be like from Beijing, which is home for me, to Charlottesville. Yue, what was that experience like for you transitioning from Singapore to Charlottesville?
It was definitely overwhelming at first, especially because Charlottesville is like a college town and Singapore is like an urban city. But I actually like that's also one of the reasons why I chose UVA for a nice change of pace from from the different environment I grew up in. Um, but there's a lot of like different resources from UVA and also just in general that allows like you for a better transition into like Charlottesville. For example, like the Airbus is a really good start. Like you fly into Dulles Airport and then there's like the bus from the student council and then you're just with a bunch of UVA students going to UVA at the same time. And then also for international students, there's also orientation, which is right before the right before the actual classes start, so that you don't have to come in the summer and then go back. And that orientation being like the weekend before classes start was really helpful in like getting to know a lot of people, maybe even like grabbing food like outside orientation. And then like in the first week of classes, I found that was a nice transition.
Yeah, great, great. Thank you, Yue. Um, so do you have any advice for our incoming first years?
Um, I think like one thing I regretted was not bringing like more snacks from home or like more things from home, because I didn't expect myself to like miss the food from home so much. It's so definitely stock up.
Definitely, definitely. Even till today, this morning I was craving for some snack from home too, so can definitely agree with you on that one. So, Miko, what was that experience like for you transitioning from your home to Charlottesville?
It was something. I feel like I watch every single possible movie about college life that I could find in order to really prepare myself, but it really didn't uh really do justice of like what the experience was like. I think it's a hard transition. Sometimes you miss family, you miss friends, but I feel like because everyone is coming to this place and it's something new, not only for international students, but also for like people in the US, I feel like it's such a good place to find that support kind of like group, that group that it's gonna listen to your problems, that group that it's going to be there for you whenever you're missing home a little bit. So I think for me, the transition was made a little bit easier by finding those people. And to be honest, it was very easy. There's a lot of like different groups and different situations where making friends makes it like a little bit easier. But I do agree with the snacks. I remember for me, it was a little bit opposite. I stuck up fully. I was like prepared for that, but walking around with my mate, people were very curious about it. So my advice is be prepared for people to ask questions. And sometimes like that cultural shock might happen. One experience is that in Argentina we give one kiss in the cheek whenever we greet people, and that's a no-no here. Here is more like a handshake culture. So that was one of my first cultural shock experiences, which was a very funny situation. But yeah, just be prepared, be open, be yourself, and you will find that group that it's gonna make home a little bit closer.
Great. Thanks, Mika, and thanks, Yue. We get a lot of questions about student activities on ground. UVA has over 1,000 clubs on ground that covers just about any interest you might have, from some of the more serious one like investment and business to some of the more casual one like SpongeBob and Harry Potter. So we do have a wide range of clubs that a student can participate in, and we'll drop a link in the chat for our student activity sites, where you can find a list of current club and more information. So Mika, tell us about some of the activity that you were involved in and how you decide to join the clubs and how you pick out the clubs that you want to join.
Sure. So it's been 3 years now, so my memory might be a little bit spotty. But some of the groups that I was involved in during my time at UVA, I was president of the Latinx Student Alliance. I was also a peer mentor for Hispanic and Latinx students. And I think those were like really my major ones. I was really very involved with the Latinx community here. And I also dabble a little bit in the international students groups. But to be honest, this is the great thing about these clubs is that we have something called activities fair that usually happens within the first week that you arrive. It's just literally table and table and table, rows of tables of like different interests, different hobbies, people that are passionate about like a topic or even an activity, and they're just looking for other people to join their group. So as David, you were mentioning, we have a Quidditch club, we have so many different and quirky different groups from like sports group if you like to play soccer. Well, actually, we call it football, but that's another topic. If you like handball, if you are not a sports person at all, you are more so like of the arts. We also have like a fashion club that does like runway shows every semester. We have so many different options for whatever you want to do. However, be cautious. Don't be like me my first semester where I joined like over 13 groups. And then I was like, all right, this is too much to upkeep. So be open. You can also, this activities fair happens every year that you're here. So if there's something that you want to try for one semester or just 1 year, you can also do that. So that's my advice. Always try to balance your activities.
For sure, definitely. Thank you so much, Mika. And Yihui, same question to you.
Yeah, I'm involved in club table tennis, just because I've been playing it when I was young and I just wanted to find the same community here at UVA and play with new people. I'm also involved in the Contemplative Sciences Center, which is this new building, of like it's like when you come to UVA, you know which one it is. It really stands out. I'm involved there as a student advisor, so I do like student programming there. So these are like my two big ones, but like, outside of that, I'm also involved in like a few like series. Like I'm in a consulting club that's for more like career pursuits. I'm also involved in like volunteering. So there's one called Visa, so volunteering for international scholars, students, and staff. That's where like you get to meet more the international community outside of just like students. There's also graduate students over there and also staff, and like they're just like practicing their English, and like especially all the graduate students, like we help them run through like mock lessons because their TAs, they have to like teach some sections in the future, so we're just helping them make sure that everything runs smoothly. um and I also agree like with Mika, like the students' activity fair is gonna be like huge. It's gonna run from like the morning to like late afternoon, and like there's a bunch of tables. It spans like 3 locations, like amphitheater, Peabody Lawn, and also the actual lawn itself. And I really strongly encourage you guys to all go because they always give out free swag as well. Like after you sign up for the newsletter, they'll give you like a free shirt, a free tote, a free sticker, stuff like that. And I really racked up a lot of free things in my first like day, like before school even started. So that was pretty cool.
Great. Thank you, Yihui. And one of the special experience I know you have here is that you're part of the table tennis club at UVA. And because of that, you had a really special experience last year during the January term. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So that was a J term called like ping pong diplomacy. So basically we were celebrating like the 52nd, I think, anniversary of ping pong diplomacy, which basically was what helped US and China break the ice in the 70s. The American team, the Olympic team, like they missed their bus and then they sat on the Chinese team's bus, and then it was like it broke the world, like it broke, like it was all over the news everywhere. And so we were recreating that experience, and we were like going to Hong Kong, Beijing, and Shanghai and visiting like universities over there and playing with the university students over there. So that was really cool, especially since I came into UVA like not knowing this opportunity existed. It only like kind of got announced to us in like late October when it came in August. But it really just goes to show how UVA is like a school of opportunity. Like I didn't know this was gonna exist, but when I came in, it was really the right fit for me. It was also really cool because we got to travel with Steve. Steve was actually like our teacher, our course instructor throughout the whole trip. And the scholarship also covered everything. So that was a really, really good experience. It's like definitely one of my top 5 things that could happen in UVA.
Yeah, that's definitely a very special experience. And I know I had the pleasure to travel with you and Steve on that trip. So Steve, anything that you would like to add on about the ping pong trip?
No, it was a really great adventure for all of us. Our UVA students ended up being press stars. I think it was we were the first group of international students to visit China after the pandemic. And so it was a huge press event, and our entire class we were invited as guests of honors at a special banquet that the foreign minister held in Beijing to mark the anniversary of the US and China establishing relations. So it was a great thing. And we have opportunities like that in J term. That was during the break between the fall and spring semesters. We have all sorts of 2-week programs that you're welcome to apply for, either abroad or here in Charlottesville. And in the summertime too, we have all sorts of programs available for every student, including international students, to participate in. This summer, for example, we're taking our rugby teams, our men and women's rugby team, to South Africa to explore the role of rugby and sports in overcoming apartheid in South Africa. And our students will get to play and learn about the history of of the apartheid system in South Africa. So don't be shy. There are plenty of opportunities to learn in many different formats and times of year.
Thank you, Steve. And I certainly agree that our special experience here at UVA really not only exists here on ground in Charlottesville, but really expand globally to many different regions through many different ways and experiences. So, Steve talked earlier about support structure that are available for UVA student and their families, but we like to hear our perspectives from the students and the alumni about how UVA supported you during your time on ground in terms of wellness, social opportunity, and career preparation. So, Yihui, as a current student, let's start with you.
Yeah, for sure. For international students, that aspect of things, there's the International Center, which we was briefly mentioned just now, but basically they have like monthly cooking classes and also like game nights where they have free pizza. And also like they also organize like walks and hikes sometimes. And also there's a fall workshop on US social customs. So that's a very useful resource. Also just the whole global greeters, which is basically like the people that's welcoming you into UVA, they help you move in and everything. That was also very helpful for me to like, find my bearings in UVA when I first arrived. And after that, it's also like, you get to make more friends and you can also become a global greeter in your second year and welcome new international students as well. So that was really cool. But I think like in general, there's a lot of resources that UVA provides as well. The Career Center, for example, is very useful, and you can even go in there as a first year. Just they host like a ton of workshops. Like as like it starts like in the fall, and every week there's like a different week for different careers. So there's like the government week, and then there's also like the consulting week, for example. You can just go in there as early as first year. Like I remember I didn't have a resume at all. But I really wanted to churn one out, to get ready for like, college life. And I just went in their drop-in hours, and they really just gave me a whole book on like do's and don'ts and different templates as well as for a cover letter too. So that was really helpful. And I just went in there like every semester to like make sure that things are still up to date.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Thank you, Yihui. And at the beginning of the program, I mentioned about UVA Club Global Network earlier. Mika, as a recent grad, do you have anything to add about the support on ground, or would you like to talk about how UVA still support you after you graduate in your career and personal life? Now you're embarking on this amazing professional journey.
Sure. Yes. I feel like on grounds, one thing that I really appreciate was the care regarding mental health awareness. we have this like really good wellness program that whenever you need and whenever you need that support, it is there for you. I know sometimes like this transition, this cultural shock can be challenging. So I know UVA has experts and professionals that can always help with that. And when it comes to kind of my grad life, it's very cool because there's different groups even around the world where like alumni can connect. I know I'm part not only of the Alumni Association here in Washington, D.C., but I'm also part of the Bolivar Network, that is a Latinx alumni network that always hosts like either happy hours or like different events where you get to connect and network. I feel like that's one of like the most important things that you can do in your grad life, getting to know like people that had the same experiences as you within the city that you live. So I really do appreciate that. And one more thing in terms of like preparing for grad life, UVA has this really great program called Handshake, that is a platform where you can look for different opportunities, whether it's internships or even like jobs after school. So that was like one of the websites that I might have used the most. So those are tiny snippets of it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mika. And well, as a UVA graduate myself, also a current student, I couldn't agree more with both you and Yihui in terms of the support that UVA provide to students, and as well as the really amazing UVA community wherever you go after you graduate. The past summer, I was in China, and I actually traveled around the country, attended events with our clubs in Shanghai, Hangzhou, Beijing, and also Hong Kong. So there is an amazing group of UVA community wherever you go after you graduate. But of course, we hope that you will join us here on Ground First to experience the amazing 4 years here in Charlottesville. And thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. So now let's shift gear a little bit and start to answer some of the questions that came through during the registration. We had so many great questions. Unfortunately, we won't have time to get to all of them today, but our colleague will drop some link in the chat about orientation, housing, and international students and scholars program, which are providing support before you join UVA, as well as providing continued support throughout the 4 years. And at the end of this presentation, we'll also provide resources and the list of other opportunity to connect with UVA and ask questions. Our behind the scene moderator are still answering your question live in the Q&A box below. Thank you again to our silent moderator from the Office of Admission and the International Students Office for the great work that they have been doing responding to your questions throughout the program. And I do see a lot of questions coming through the Q&A feature, so let's keep it going. So let's shift gear a little bit. Did anyone pursue any sort of internship or research opportunity while at UVA? And if so, can you tell us what is the best way to explore what your options are?
Sure. So in terms of like internship opportunities, there's a lot of options. I think Handshake, as I mentioned, is a great platform where you can find those opportunities. I think there's so basically for internships, you go into the platform, you kind of like plug in your interest, and a lot of options are gonna come through, whether you want to like work within the university or you want to work in an outside organization, that is possible. There's obviously some like restrictions depending on like the type of internship that you want to particularly take, but the International Students Office, it's more than helpful to kind of like guide you through that and like the paperwork that you're gonna like that you will need to fill out. I know like during my time at UVA, I did some internships with the House It in Residence Live. I also have done internships in a production studio that it's local to Charlottesville, like House Studios. And that was like one of the best experiences that I personally have had in my time at UVA. It was very eye-opening and kind of like that snippet into how do I apply what I am studying into the actual work field. So there's lots of opportunities. And I always encourage people to explore them while they're here.
Great. Thank you, Mika. Yihui, I saw you are unmuted. Please jump in.
Yeah, I can talk more about research opportunities. So UVA is a really good school for research. We're an R1 institution, which basically just means that there's tons of opportunities that students can get involved in, even as early as like first year, first semester. But you don't have to worry so much, like people doing their third years as well. But if that's something that you're really interested in, UVA is definitely the right place for that. There's going to be research fairs that happen every semester as well, and there's also this office for like I forgot what the office is called. I think it was for like citizen scholars or something like that. But they help with like the more national like research opportunities available, like all the scholarships available, like the whole nationwide kind of scale. But in UVA itself, there's also like the smaller research fairs and stuff. Um, so I got my research opportunity in my second semester in a very funny way. So basically, in my first semester, I went for a data science class, and I was basically like going to office hours, maybe once every 2 weeks to like just check in my homework because of my first semester. I just want to make sure that I got everything right. Just want to make sure that nothing was like no issues in my grades or like my homework or whatever, and I'm like understanding the problems right. And because of that, even though it was like a bigger class with like 100 people, the professor got to know my name. And actually, in my second semester, he reached out to me and asked that, if I want to join the team. And obviously, I said yes because it's such a great opportunity. So, like, office hours is also a very great resource, and every class and every professor is required to have office hours as well. So, especially if like your class is big and, you don't want to ask a question in front of like 100 other people, like, the office hours is exists for that. But also, like, it can maybe somehow lead to research opportunities, or like if you can also go to office hours and ask your professor if you know that they're doing something that you're interested in, and like just like sound it out, and they'll definitely keep you in mind. Or you can just also cold email any professor that they all have their research like whatever they're doing now, like all published online. And when you come across something that you like, you can definitely just reach out to them. They're all very happy and very welcoming to undergraduate students because they know it's a good opportunity for us as well for like our professional development. And like, if there's no space like this semester, like if their team's already full, they'll definitely keep you in mind. A lot of them have like an unofficial wait list as well for like the future semesters.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Yihui. And I think UVA is such a special place, especially when it comes to the student and professor relationship, not only inside of the classroom, but also outside of class. For me, I really had some wonderful professors, whether it was it's through my politics major in undergrad, where I was constantly dropping by my professor's office, discussing things that's happening, talking about all the sort of political series and how that really applies to things that we see in our daily life. And also now in the McIntyre School of Commerce, where we're inviting our professors to lunch, talking about how their journey was coming to UVA and how they see our field change in the future. So those are really great examples of how students here can really build this special relationships with our professors. So do any of you guys want to add in on that?
I would just add, go ahead, Mika.
No, please go, take it away.
There are so many opportunities to engage in research, both as part of a specific professor's research project, but also in whole classes. So one of our most popular majors here is the Global Studies program, which teaches the theory and the practice of the theory and practice of things, issues concerned with global health, environmental sustainability, the security and justice issues. And you can sign up for that program beginning in your second year. And it's a major that provides many opportunities. We also have a Center for Global Health Equity, which gives up to 50 to 60 students financial support to do research projects overseas, studying the different issues connected with global health and access to healthcare in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America. And so there are just multiple opportunities.
Thank you, Steve. Mika.
Yeah, I was gonna touch a little bit more on like the office hours with professors. That's something that I thought it was very unique. So like every single professor hosts office hours. It's basically part of like the curricula, and that was something very strange for me that there was a time dedicated for students to drop by the professor's office and sometimes just talk. There was one time where I was super interested in the topic. I went to my professor's office and we talked for 3 hours. I feel very bad for my professor, but he was more than happy to entertain my curiosity when it came to the subject. So, I know that's a little bit like on the side, but I think that's such a cool thing that I haven't seen it before. And kind of like want to highlight it, how cool and sometimes important it is to build that relationships with professors. You never know when where that relationship can take you. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mika. And yeah, definitely. The office hours, people do utilize them, and never feel like your professor are unapproachable and always go to their office hours. A few weeks ago, I heard one of the professors said that 1 week, her office hour was empty and no one was visiting her, and she was really sad, just sitting in her office for an hour waiting for students to drop by. So our professors really care about their students, and we really build this great personal relationship with them. So I see one of the questions that came through the Q&A is a really interesting one, and really covers the diverse nature of the international community here on ground. So Steve, would you like to talk a little bit about life on ground for our third culture kid, i.e. Americans who are raised overseas?
Yes, well, we have a quite an active community here of Americans who grew up overseas, and they are very much part of our community and can contribute to their experiences. And they often are very comfortable acting as mentors to their fellow students who want to go on study abroad programs overseas. So it's a really great community.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much. So let's shift gear to some of the more casual questions. That's a little bit more going deeper into the experience, the everyday life here on ground. So Mika and Yihui, what's your favorite place to study on ground?
I think mine will be the newly renovated Shannon Library. It just opened last spring, so like it's been only like a year now, but it's like really, really nice inside. There's like a room, like the Harry Potter room, which is basically like, it's super quiet. Like if you go in there, you have to like lock in and everything, but like the whole vibe of everything is very like vintage and like it's just something I've never seen back home. So Shannon Library is definitely one of my top study spots.
Right. Mika.
I had so many different ones. I feel like my top ones though. So in the Clemens Library in the third floor, they have like the audio visual stuff. So sometimes I will go in there, study for an hour, and then get a VR set play some games, and then go back to study. So that was one of my top ones. And then my other one was the Rare Books Collection Library. It was a very, very quiet space. And sometimes, I don't know, I find comfort in books. So being surrounded by these like books that are like very, very important, very, very rare was always kind of like fascinating to me. So that's something that is also available for students, especially if you're researching something and maybe that information is in a rare book that maybe you might need to go there. I know they have like sometimes trainings for students to see how to care or how to even read from a very rare book. So that was a cool thing. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mika. And UVA is never short of amazing study space, whether it's in the library or like many people do. Well, as the weather is getting better and warmer here in the spring on the lawn, this is always an amazing space. And for me, it's actually in the rotunda, in the building, in my background. So I really had this superstitious tradition where I try to wrap up my final paper in the rotunda. It had one time bring me some good luck, getting a good grade, just finishing a paper in the rotunda. So since then, well, it has been a tradition of mine and one of my favorite place to study.
David, do they still have those projections in the ceiling?
Yes, they do. Yes, and the thing is, I think it shows better on a cloudy day, like where it's not so bright in
Mm.
there. But wow, yeah, they still have that, and it's still a very popular place for people to drop in, study, spend some time. Or actually, one time I saw some people taking nap in there, which is another great way, right?
That was probably me.
So, talking about study, and what about some of the ways to de-stress in Charlottesville? Any of you guys have some good way that you spend time outside of class, hang out with friends?
I can take it away.
Yeah.
I think there's so many. I feel like the Charlottesville community has always been very welcoming, and there's so many things to do, and as well as traditions. So we have this place called Lotta's Bagels, very popular spot for students to get bagels. There's always this tradition to see if you can try to get the number one ticket, which I did. I was very proud about it. But I think, yeah, there's so like many places to explore around Charlottesville, especially downtown is very beautiful. We have the buses that can take you there. And I believe students, well, showing their ID or scanning their ID, they can ride for free. And downtown has so many beautiful restaurants to try. Especially I'm also like a cinema fan, so there's like a cinema down there. Um, but yeah, those are like some of my favorite ones.
Yeah,
Great.
backing that up, the downtown mall also has like live music like every Saturday, I think. So it's a very nice like place to just chill. And also there's a free trolley that goes there. It's part of the Charlottesville bus, but it's all free for UVA students and it runs from grounds to downtown mall and grounds to downtown mall. So it's a very convenient, like very easy to go to. It's also walkable if you guys want to get your steps in, but downtown mall is definitely like, really nice. The cinema as well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And Steve, would you like to add anything?
Oh, yeah. Well, as I mentioned earlier, Charlottesville is one of the most beautiful spots in America, not just the town of Charlottesville, but we're close to the Blue Ridge Mountains, which has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles of hiking trails. That's just a beautiful, it's so close by. And just going there is a great way to reconnect with nature, put your troubles or studies aside, just to connect with nature. It's wonderful opportunities.
Yeah, yeah. I remember while I was on undergrad, first week at UVA, the Global Greeters actually gathered a group, went hiking at Humpback Rock, which is a amazing place in the Blue Ridge. Yeah, the nature here is another thing that really attracted me and probably a lot of students. I think that's why many people fall in love with UVA eventually. Yeah. So, and
We also have for those of you who prefer more meditation or yoga, we have a brand new Contemplative Commons Center, which just opened this past year and provides just so many different activities of the contemplative nature.
definitely. And you said you currently intern at the Contemplative Science Center, right?
Yeah, I work at the building and I also like plan like events for students. So that's been very, very nice. The whole building is super nice. There's like this conservatory, which is basically like a 24/7 sound bath. You just go in, there's like sofas, couches, you can just chill and like listen to music. Like there's like the one right now is like about the reef. So like it feels like you're in the ocean. It's pretty cool and then it changes every few months. Um but yeah, we have yoga that runs from like 7 a.m. So like there's the early morning one and there's also one in the afternoon, so like after your classes. And every Friday we have something called the Friday Rest Fest. So we have like actual sound bath professionals coming in and also giving the whole experience, also meditation, self-guided meditation or guided meditation as well. So very a lot of things going on and it's been very nice to work there as well.
Yeah, yeah. And it overlooked the pound, which is really beautiful, tranquil place here around me. Mika, I wish you graduated a few years later, so you'd be
I
able to also
know. What
experience
is this
those.
things all coming by after I left? But I can always come back.
Yeah,
Hopefully
right.
UVA will receive me.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, would always welcome you to come back. Sweet. And the other thing I think that really made UVA special is that for students, there's really plenty opportunity to explore classes and interests outside of your major. For me, when I was undergrad in the politics department, I took one class in the architecture school, learning about the history of UVA architecture and how Jefferson designed the ground, the academical village, and how that really influenced architecture in America on American campuses across the country, and also like Yihui and Ambassador Mo have seen at Tsinghua, which they also have a quite similar rotunda. And so, do any of you guys want to share a little bit about your favorite class you took outside your major?
I've been pondering this question because I feel like it's a very hard one. I feel like I have two answers for it. One of the answer is that I came to UVA thinking I was going to study economics, but I took intro to media studies and I was like, all right, never mind. I'm switching. So that could be one of my answers. But I feel like there's sometimes like special classes that come by that are very unique. I took a class on writing regarding Edgar Allan Poe, someone that actually attended UVA for a couple semesters. So it was very cool to be able to study some of his like writing in a place where he actually was a student at. And the other kind of like cool class that I took, similar to media studies, but it actually forms part of the department, kind of like school, um, is I took a production class where not only I got to produce different shorts, we also visited like actual like sets, like filming sets. We got to meet some cool actors that I never thought I would meet. That was like such a unique and cool experience and something that I didn't know college had, field trips. So very, very cool experience on those two classes.
Great, great. You had anything to add?
Yeah, actually, along the same lines, I had like I know I can't talk about the ping pong trip anymore, but that is definitely going to be like my favorite class. It was also in my transcript, so but I also did another day term this January, and it's actually in media studies. And it brought us to New York City, so that was really cool. And like we all had roommates, so it was a bunch of UVA students, and we were like just exploring the city. We got to talk to a lot of the people like in the industry, and the class was about like how AI is changing like, their roles and their work. And so we talked to like creative people. So they obviously had like very different perspective from like the production side of things. So it's just really interesting to just have these conversations and get to know the different perspectives of people who are like in the same industry, but having different roles. That was really cool.
Sweet. Yeah, thank you, UA. And certainly UVA is definitely not short for any unique classes for people to explore their interest. For me, I'm guilty of pursuing my cert degree at UVA, exploring maybe a little bit too much of all the available classes here at UVA, but definitely there are so many ways that you can really explore your interest and not to really worry what are you going to land on at the end. And there's so many options that out there for you, and you can also take on second major, a minor, but don't spend all your time inside the classroom, but also build connection outside the class. uh, Utilize the resource here on ground, connect with people, explore Charlottesville. It's really a amazing place. And we're kind of approaching the end of our session, so let's get to some of the really fun questions. So I think one thing that people are a little bit concerned about is food. What's food like in UVA? What do people really usually eat here? Is dining hall good? Any thoughts from our panelists?
I mean, my experience is 3 years old, but I know that it really depends where you want to get it. I feel like I always kind of had like a schedule of like where I was gonna go. So I know we have like different dining halls, one kind of like located a little bit farther apart. There's like one dining hall that for breakfast is ideal. It's beautiful. If not, there's like one that is located in Newcomb that sometimes have like guest appearances from sometimes like restaurants, which I was always on the lookout for. However, I'll say take advantage of your meal swipes when it comes to transfers. So sometimes you can, instead of like going into the dining hall, you can swipe in into kind of like Subway or Chick-fil-A, which were always lovely to have. But yes, as I mentioned, 3 years old experience. So I don't know how much it has changed.
Yue, can we get some newer
Yeah.
perspective on you?
Please.
So there's this new place that opened last fall with the new dorms Gaston, and it actually lived like really close to it. So there's like a whole like new food court downstairs. We also have the food court in Newcomb, the Path, which has Chick-fil-A, Subway, Bento, sushi, and Ben and Jerry's, and they like you can like, get your meal exchanges there or like pay and like get like the normal menu. But just opposite, like just at Gaston, there's like this new one called I don't know what the food court is called, but they have something called the Den, which is very good. I love it. It's basically Denny's. It's like a subsidiary of Denny's. So they have the pancakes, the
Ooh.
French toast, and they also have like fried chicken. And they open till like 10, 11 p.m. So it's very good for a late night snack. And they also have like this like rotating kitchen. So like the menu of this place like changes every week because the kitchen is kind of different. But outside of grounds, Charlottesville is actually a really like robust place for good food as well. We're actually, I think, one of the top 15 cities in the US to have the greatest like restaurant to person ratio. So basically, this is just a ton of food to try. Um, I I've been trying to get like eat a new place every week, and it's been, there's still like a lot of places I still want to try. So definitely like so, if like you ever get sick of like dining hall food like UVA food, there's also a ton of different restaurants out there. The corner as well where Bodo's Bagels is, and like it stretches a whole street, a few blocks. And my favorite there is definitely gonna be Inca. It's like a Peruvian place. Very good.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. I know there are rumors flying online that UVA perhaps doesn't have the best dining hall, but I think maybe that have to change a little bit. And but beside that, we also have really amazing food options other than dining hall on ground and in Charlottesville. Steve, what's your take on the dining scene here?
Oh, I think it's great. Before I came to UVA 7 years ago, I was based in Washington, D.C., and I think the range of restaurants here is just as good and not as expensive. And you can eat everything in the downtown mall, which is a few blocks from grounds. You can get Mexican food, Thai food, you can get sushi. You can get all kinds of things. So I love eating here.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Steve. Now,
I
I'm
haven't
really thinking
eaten,
about lunch.
I confess, I haven't eaten in the dining halls. So maybe I'm missing an opportunity there. But there are plenty. You won't go hungry here.
Definitely, definitely. Well, certain. I'm thinking about lunch right now, so it is only 8:55 in the morning. I'm already thinking about that. So well, also 8:55, kind of approaching to the end. So well, one final question. What's the one piece of advice that you give to our incoming first year and their family? Mika, let's start with you.
Sure. I think my best advice is be open. Be open to new experiences. Be open to, change. Change can be hard, but sometimes sometimes we don't have to have everything ready in order to like embrace that change. Sometimes that change is gonna, take you by surprise. And I being open and being, reciprocal of being conscious that this change is happening and we have to adjust to make sure we have the best experience that we can have. It's hard, but at the same time, I feel like you're resilient, you made it here, you're gonna come here and you're gonna succeed and just yeah, be open to this new experience and be resilient. Because if you made it this far, you can still do it.
Right, Steve?
Yeah.
Uh,
Me, I completely agree. Important thing to remember: there will be moments where you are homesick, you miss your family and friends back home, but you're not alone. Everybody here is a new student, and they are in a new situation, dealing with new intellectual challenges, academic challenges, social challenges, and everybody is in this together. And I think you'll find after you're here within a few weeks that is very important for forging a community spirit, and you will very quickly feel very much at home here. So I agree with Mika completely. Be open. Be ready. There will be challenging moments, but in the end, those moments will make you much stronger and a success.
Iwe, last but not least.
Yeah, I totally agree with the both of them, but I think one thing to know is that especially for incoming students, it can seem like a lot in the first like month where like there's like every day there's like maybe like 5 events that you can go to, but you don't have to go to every single one of them. I think at first I was very like, I was like, oh my gosh, like my schedule is so packed with all these events and like there's no time for like classes or there's no time for just myself to like, maybe call family or stuff like that. So all these events are actually like non-mandatory. I don't know why I felt so obliged to like go to every single one of them, but just know that if you need time for yourself, like feel free to take it as well. You're gonna have another 4 years at UVA, so even if you just miss like a few events in your first month, there's gonna be so much more that will come in the future. So don't worry about that.
Definitely. But there are certainly things that you don't want to miss, like the ping pong trip, right? So well, panelists, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your thoughts today. And I know everyone will really benefit from your experience and expertise. Uh, you may leave the webinar now, and thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you, David, and welcome once again to all of you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys. Thank you. Well, before we close out today's program, I'd like to direct you to more opportunities to connect with Wahoos in your region. Well, Wahoos, what we call our fellow UVA folks. As we mentioned earlier, some of our UVA clubs are sponsoring local in-person admitted student celebrations this month, including events in London, Singapore, and multiple cities across China. These are great opportunity for you to meet who's in your area, connect with other admitted students, and learn more about UVA experience. You may already receive an email inviting to one of those events, but you can also see the link in the chat or scan the QR code on screen to learn more. The Office of Admission also have some great opportunity for you to connect with UVA as you make your decision. And if you haven't already, please visit the International Studies website for a lot of helpful information. And that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for joining us, and go Hoos.